Imagine gods and its confusion, its destruction, and its consequences. There are several gods that people worship in this world. We have the god of Olokun, the god of the river. We have the god of Ogun, the god of iron. We have the god of Sango, which is the god of thunder. We have the god of Oromila, which is the god of divination. In some parts of in India, for example, has over 200 gods that they worship. Worship animals. They worship, like what I just mentioned, now the god of stone, wood, the god of iron. This is one of the reasons why we are seeing the evil that we see in the world today. For example, the people that worship the god of the river, the people that worship the river as God, they will go to the river and throw some sacrifices in the river so that they can get protection from the river or get their answer, their problem solved. Not knowing that they're actually polluting the river that God has given them to drink from. As a result, people drink from the river, they are sick and they die. Because now this river is being polluted. We hear so many things, we hear, sicknesses. We hear so many issues of people dying of cholera, waterborne diseases in Africa. Because these rivers and streams, they've been polluted by these sacrifices that people are throwing inside. They don't know that what they are doing is bringing them destruction. They are being manipulated by the devil against themselves. The things that God has given them to use to meet their needs is what they worship as God. The river that God has given them to drink from, fish from, they pollute these rivers, these streams, this sea with sacrifices, and they can't drink from it. When I was growing up as a child, we served this God, the Olokun God. Is one of the God that we worship at that time. The priest or the priestess will instruct us to take a full-fledged chicken and sacrifice it to the God. Sometimes we have to buy a chicken, we just cut off the neck and throw the chicken inside the sea for sacrifice so that we can appease the gods to solve our problems. Not knowing that the problem that we were going through is as a result of we not knowing the God of heaven and the earth, not having Jesus as the light of the world. Because what the devil does using these gods is to get you is to have you walk on the path of A when you are supposed to walk on the path of B. As a result, your destiny or your life is messed up. When you're supposed to go to the farm to farm and meet your needs, what the devil will tell you is to stay at home on that day and do sacrifices. So this is what the manipulations of Satan is. The god of iron. People who worship the god of iron. This very same iron that they use to sculpt out a god is what they use to build their houses. And no one has stopped to think and say, this same iron I'm using to build my house is what I'm worshiping as God. The god of thunder, which is the god of Sango. If you go to some part of Africa, to be very specific now, Nigeria, Benin Republic, you see these people, you see these gods there. The god of thunder. You see people that worship these gods there. The god of thunder. They believe that the god of thunder is when there is thunder, so that God is reacting. So they even went as far as invoking this god of thunder to strike the enemy. So when they have problem with people, they will be calling the god of thunder to come and fight for them. The god of Oromila, which is the god that is behind divination. People who practice black magic, who, people who psyche, this is the demon of psyche. They call it the god of Oromila. Is the people that worship this god, they are mostly involved in divination. They are diviners. So when you come and meet with them, they will be trying to search out your destiny from the other world, the spiritual world. Then our parents will take us to these diviners and say, oh, we want you to look at this child destiny to see how this child is going to be. All they will do is lie to our parents and say this child is going to be this, is going to be that, because they don't know much. They don't know much. The same very child that they are not catering for. Sometimes my father will have to travel out for months. It's not back home. Doesn't even know how we are faring. And whenever he comes back from his trip, he's consulting diviners, divination, to see what is going to be. When they are supposed to do the right thing, they do the wrong thing, because getting them off their duty of their parental duty and running after the wrong thing, which is consulting diviners, consulting witch doctors to see how the child destiny is going to be. A child you are not catering for, a child you are not training, a child you're not parenting. Like I said before, in India they have over 200 gods. People worship they worship animals. They worship different gods. Some people worship snakes as God. But there is one God, the God of heaven and earth. The God that created the sun that people worship. The sun is meant to give light to mankind, not for man to be worshiping the sun. Because when it comes to the time the sun is supposed to come up, it comes up by itself. Nobody tells the sun to come up. When it's night, the night will just appear by itself. Even the light that we have as electricity is as a result of the sun. No man has stopped to think. This is not the words of scientists. Some people believe that the world was, the world was here as a result of the Big Bang theory. It's not true. Because there are so many things that scientists cannot fathom at this moment. They cannot, because it's not true. There's a creator. There is a God that created the heavens and the earth. These people that worship the god of the river, the priest or the priestess at that time, while we were back home, we tell our parents to take a live chicken or a live goat, use it as a sacrifice, throw it inside the sea, and then we come back home hungry. A live chicken. And we don't eat the chicken, we just throw it into the chicken, and God made this chicken for us to eat. So this is what the devil does. The things that we are supposed to eat, it make us go hungry, so we throw the things in the sea. And while those things are thrown into the sea or the river, they are polluting the river, they are polluting the sea, and the waters will not be good for man to drink, for us to drink. People are falling sick. No man has stopped to think. These things that I'm calling God, they are the very same thing that I use to make my bed, to make my firewood, to sculpt out to make my house. The iron that I worship, the sea that I worship, I fish from it. No man has stopped to think. There are some people who say they have the goddess of the sea, which is the mermaid of the sea, or the queen of heaven, as the book of Jeremiah has said. But the Bible said that it was an imagined God. An imagined God. There is no such thing as the queen of heaven. It is the God that the people has imagined in their mind that they are worshiping. So some people just imagine things and begin to worship it. They create that thing and begin to worship. The imagined gods that people have formulated, worshiping, is what is mostly responsible for the things that we see in the world today. In most parts of Africa, they worship all these gods. The gods that their hands have made. How can you worship something that you have made that with your hands? It means that you are more intelligent than that thing. The fact that you have the intellect to imagine that thing and create it and mold it or sculpt it, carve it out, it means that you are more, intelligent than that thing that you made. And you come and be bowing down to that same very thing and say, save me. It's delusion, it's confusion. It is time for mankind to return back to the God who created the heavens and the earth. We see natural disasters happening in the world. People building houses where they are not supposed to build houses. They have the underwater. People build houses under the sea. We have some bridges where they are not supposed to be. Even though bridges are good, people tampering with nature. And we see natural disaster. We don't know why they are happening. Because the things that men are doing is bringing them problems, but they're not just seeing it. It is time for mankind to return back to the God of heaven and earth. What the imagined gods do is confusion. It brings confusion, destruction, evil. The Bible says Jesus is the light of the world. It said, do not kill, do not steal, do not worship any other gods. It doesn't even make sense for man to be worshiping the things that they created with their own hands. It doesn't even make sense. Watch out for the part 2 of this video. Thank you for tuning in.